On today's show, I'm joined by Lindsay Maloney, business coach, host of the top-rated podcast Book Your Dream Clients, and homeschooling mom of 3. Have you ever wondered whether you could be a coach? There are so many opportunities to help others go from where you once were to where you are now. Maybe you've improved your health, your business, your parenting, or some other area of your life, and you could guide someone else looking for that same result. Lindsay shares so many gems of wisdom with us in this episode when it comes to coaching, mindset, and moving forward. Lindsay helps women coaches create six-figure businesses by building out their signature offers and designing dreamy client packages without the busy work. I know you're going to enjoy our conversation. I would like to welcome Lindsay Maloney today to the podcast. I am really excited for what we're going to be able to talk about and share with our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me, Dawn. I'm excited.
So, Lindsay, tell us a little bit more about what brought you to the space of wanting to coach women who are really, coaches themselves that are looking to grow their businesses, and, what made you decide that that was your person?
I knew that that was my person after denying that it was my person for a long time. And I always thought things had to be so much more difficult than it has to be. Because you feel like if it's easy, then I'm not doing it right. So it should be hard. It should be confusing. It should be overwhelming. And finally, I realized, I remember sitting there one night, I was feeding my daughter in those, nighttime moments. And I was like, why don't I just help people that I am and just go back a few spaces? Like, why not I just recognize the journey that I have? I'm like, that would be so much easier than trying to be all these other things. And then it built up from there. It was me doing everything that I wish I had when I started. And it's like I said, if we would just be okay with making things easy and simple, it would be a whole lot simpler. But for some reason, we always got to make things a lot more difficult. And that's like my thing is let's make this as simple as possible. And I don't know why we reject that, but I'm here to open that up for everybody because this can be really easy peasy.
I love that you say that, because I'm constantly saying I don't like this whole hustle or grind mindset. I think that if you are truly working in a space that you feel authentic and you feel aligned with, you should be excited about what you're doing. You should feel joyful. It should come easily. Not that there won't be a struggle, but
Mhm.
it should, on the whole, feel really good to be in that space. So I like that you say it should be simple.
It should be. Why would we create something that is, something that we dread going to every day? Like there's something completely unaligned if we're doing that.
And as you're working through, this process and deciding that this is what you were going to do, was there a point where you realized, okay, really, I am just that same person 3 steps ahead, 5 steps ahead?
Yeah. And I thought that I was the only one. I'm the only one who's doing it this way. No one would want to learn from me. Everyone's ahead of me because I grew up as the person who was like, I never really tried to fit in or wanted, nor did I, or do I ever want to fit in with anybody. I just want to be my own person. And it took a lot of confidence building to get there because I thought I had to be along with all the other sheep out there. And then when I realized, like, there are people who are even behind me and ahead of me and beside me, oh my gosh, how could I help a couple people behind me? And that just took me getting my toes wet and trying things online. And then once one little thing starts to work, you feel some momentum and you keep moving. And the key is to keep moving no matter what is behind you, in front of you, and beside you. That's the tricky part. But I look at it as the fun part because that's what we're here for.
Right. One thing that I've noticed in all the different online summits that I've done, when I'm talking to the women that are there, a lot of them, if they are not coaching, but they are entrepreneurs, they've considered coaching or they're wanting to transition to coaching. And so this seems to be a space that is definitely growing because women are starting to realize I have something to say that I could offer somebody else. So are you seeing this growth within the
Mhm.
industry?
I have seen it for quite a while. It seems like everyone starts out, maybe network marketing. That's usually how my people come in. They started with that. That's how I started many years ago. And then I went into health coaching and then I evolved into business coaching. But I think it's like a way for us just to get a little bit of a taste. And then the people who are like born to coach are the ones who are like, I want to do this my way. I don't want to work in a downline. I want to be the boss. And so those people realize, okay, this person's always asking me how I did this. And this person's always asking me, could I really seriously turn this into a business? And yeah, you probably could. And then, oh my gosh, I want to start a business. Then they get in their heads and then they, pull back a little bit or they keep moving with it. But it's just a really good way to get a taste of what this is. And coaches are like born leaders, which I love. And some maybe have to work on that a little bit. Maybe that's a skill that they have to work on. But these are people who have this passion that they're meant for more and they want it, they don't know what it is, but they're willing to keep following it.
And one thing I was wondering about when you're talking about, coaching coaches, what types of coaches? Because I don't think people realize how many types of areas that you can coach in.
Oh, I work with coaches from all over the world and all different niches. I mean, I don't ever work with one specific. I don't niche down there. I recommend niching down, but I don't. I work with business coaches, money coaches, parent coaches, health coaches, like all kinds of coaches. It's so fun to see how many different spots and gaps we can fill and how everyone can actually help people. And it's a world that you think you know really well and you assume everyone else does. But then you might hear a family member who is saying, gosh, I have a lot of trouble maybe with their stomach or whatever. And you're thinking, I know a health coach who's really good with digestion. And it's so cool to know all these little windows you could open up for people that the world has not even cracked open. There's so many opportunities out there. So it's like if you have knowledge of something, how can you turn it into a business? Find somebody to help you do it because this can change your life. This can change your family.
When you say that, right away, I'm thinking of all the women that are listening, thinking, I've thought about this. Like, maybe this could be me. Maybe I could actually have my own coaching business. And if that's what's going through people's minds, what is it that we actually need to ask ourselves to know whether we should be moving forward with this?
One thing that I asked myself was, is anyone really going to want to listen to this mom that works from home in a small town in North Dakota? And at first I was like, no, because all I saw online was, I work by the beach and I have this fancy lifestyle and this beautiful office. And I thought, my house is full of toys and it's freezing where I am half the time. And I don't have that, and nor do I want it. And I thought, I'm not going to fit in there either. So how am I going to own this if I don't feel confident with, who I am? And I had to get over that because I really love my life. And the people always say, my life is boring. Why would anyone want to follow me as a coach? If your life is boring, then make it a little bit more exciting. On you, right? What's exciting to you is going to be exciting to a group of people. So for me, what gets me excited, when it doesn't have to do with business is I like to bake in my kitchen. I like to try new recipes. My kids and we homeschool. Those little mundane things about you are qualities that if you bring it to your business, you will create an audience who can identify with that and they value what you value, and you create a little community that you never thought you had. And people actually will think you're exciting and interesting, which sometimes don't believe that that could even be possible, but it is. And I think if you feel the calling to be a coach, don't let all the outside voices and even your voice let you doubt yourself. That's a special calling. And I don't think a lot of people have it. And I think it's like you owe it to yourself to explore what that would mean for you.
Regular accountability increases your chance of success by over 90%. That's why I created the Imperfection in Progress VIP membership to help women move out of the 3 Ps and into a more relaxed, simpler, and joyful life. We have live monthly coaching calls that are also recorded and put into the membership area. One call with me and the other with a guest expert. We cover everything from physical health, movement, nutrition, sleep, to mental and emotional health, stress, anxiety, negative thoughts. We cover personal growth with topics like self-worth, confidence, happiness, hard conversations, boundaries, and self-talk. I love to help women put themselves on their own to-do list without guilt. This membership could be the perfect gift to you from you. Our founders membership is only $27 per month until the end of February, or $270 for a year. That's 2 months free. All founders will receive this pricing for as long as they remain in membership. This is the lowest cost you'll ever find coaching for. Ready to become a founding member? Go to pursueprogress.com/imperfection in progress membership, or click the link in the show notes. Now back to our episode. One of the things that I remember thinking, because I also came from the network marketing world, was I kept getting asked a lot of the same questions and became an authority on certain areas of business. And people would be asking me this. And so finally I started to think, if people are keep asking me this because they know I have the answers, obviously I have something to offer. And I think sometimes, we might think it has to be in a certain area, or it
Mhm.
has to be phrased a certain way, or we have to have so much knowledge and years of experience. But I think that's really not true.
No, and it's not like even today, I've answered questions that I've been answering for 7 years. There's always going to be people who are starting their journey. And whether they find you in year one or year five, like they're going to ask you questions that you've answered probably a million of times. And that's the beauty of a coaching business. You can spend your time with your clients, but you can also scale your business and have a course to point them to or a program to point them to. And then you can build and scale your time, all of those things that we sign up for this, of course, probably to bring money into our families, but then we also sign up for this to bring more time because it's hard to find time. So more freedom means you have to create a business that is going to give that to you eventually. So it's really important just to acknowledge, okay, maybe I want to be a coach, but what does that mean for me? How can I do this? And then also, how can I make it work for the people in my life or myself? That's really important.
When you're looking at people that are coming to you, are they coming at different stages in their journey, or are most of them at the very beginning? What do you see?
They are at all different stages. We just opened up a mastermind a month ago, and I would say half of them are, between year 2 and year 3, and then some of them are just starting. So I don't know why I attract beginners or people who are scaling. I just do. I think it's because I'm really good at simplifying things and showing them how to do stuff. And then I'm also good at, hey, let's make this more freeing for you. Like, for example, I have a client who she launched her group program this fall, and she was telling me how she's going to upsell all of her students into working with her one-on-one. And she was telling me all the bells and whistles that are going to be involved with working with her. And I thought, well, that's a lot of stuff that you have to do for them. It's like you're consulting. Is that what you want to do? Yep, it'll be fine. Okay. She ended up having a $30,000 launch. And then she told me, I'm raising my prices because I'm not doing all of this stuff for clients anymore. It's too much. And I said, you wouldn't know that until you did it. But now you know, you can't just do everything for everybody. They have to learn how to do it, take care of themselves. And learning how you want to set up your business in a year from now, how do you want it to look on a daily basis is important to acknowledge, even when you're just starting. Don't put it off until you have clients and students coming in. Take care of all of this and tighten things up now. Otherwise, it's gonna be a whole disaster, and you're gonna end up being an employee in your business instead of the CEO.
This is great advice. I mean, whether you're listening or you want to be a coach or you're just running any business of your own, I mean, we need to set up and be prepared for the growth that's going to come and not just try to backtrack as we're going. It can be so frustrating.
Yeah, so many people are waiting till they get their first client or student before they get everything set up, and that's completely backwards.
Right. When you're talking to women about their coaching businesses and you're wanting to help them move forward, one thing I'm thinking about with this podcast is we talk about people pleasing and perfectionism and procrastination. And I often see when people are starting out a business or trying to scale that business, the all the details get really overwhelming and it can cause them to just totally freeze and have that whole procrastination thing come out where
Mhm.
you just don't do anything. So what is part of what we can do when it comes around our expectations, the just the things we don't know, the overwhelm that comes with all the working parts? What can we do to help ourselves move forward?
I like to break open the word procrastination and look at it as, are you spending too much time being inspired and learning? I see that a lot. People will just fully embrace the student life and never do anything and the back end stuff. And I've been saying for years, the reason why you're changing your website for the 50th time and the reason why you're rebranding for the millionth time is because you're afraid to actually go out and take action. No one can judge you when you're behind the scenes on your laptop. No one can reject you. So it goes deeper than, oh, I'm just putting it off because I don't have a lot of time. And you're actually just putting it off because you're afraid to just take that step to go out there to put yourself out there. Like it's scary. It's the internet. Like it's the Wild West. Anything can happen. Anyone can say anything. everyone thinks they can say anything, and it's open. And you have to realize that whatever people say and do or don't do isn't a reflection on you, it's on them. So if someone doesn't buy from you or like your post or comment or do what you challenge them to do, it doesn't matter. I believe in continuously trying to move forward every single day, being consistent with that, even when no one is watching. Even when you think no one is watching. There are people who will come into your world and say, "I've been listening to you for 2 years, and I have no idea that they exist." That probably happens to you. And it's like, if we would only just show up for the silent followers, I think we would get out of our head and stop. It's almost like we're thinking too much of ourselves. Like, how can we demand people to say and do things just because we put it out there, right? Do it for a bigger reason. Get the dollar signs out of your eyes. You are procrastinating for a deeper reason. And I think it's like, it's our responsibility to, you have a dream, so follow up with it. You have to try. You can be a student as you should be a student all the time, but you have to be a leader as well. You have to have both. You have to have both. It's balance.
I love that you mentioned like just helping the silent followers. And I think that's something when I'm doing training with people around the Facebook groups and things like that. And they get discouraged that nobody's talking back or they have two people, yet their group has 2,000 or whatever. But if you don't understand that 90% of the people that are watching you are just watching, they're getting to know you, they're learning whether they trust you or not. They're seeing if you fit with them and if that's a good alignment. And you're constantly growing and nurturing that audience, but a lot of people don't realize and they need that recognition, like
Mhm.
tangible recognition, right? And so then it's just, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. Maybe I'm not qualified, and all that self-doubt kicks in.
There's no magic number to say when you have 5,000 people in your group, everyone will engage. Like, it's always going to be a thing. So get over it and just keep going.
Yes, I love that. Now you said a lot of times about just keep going, right? Just keep going. So tell us some ways that we can get out of our head when it comes to that, because I think often, again, that's where either we procrastinate or we find some stuff to get busy with that doesn't actually move the needle forward. So what can we do to help ourselves with that consistency?
Yeah, put your blinders up and stop looking at what everyone else is doing and stop comparing yourself to everyone online. Like, this is it can you can put yourself in a really dangerous spot by looking at, Dawn is here and I'm not, Lindsay's here and I'm not, and then you can go down a rabbit hole really fast just on Instagram alone. But then you have the internet to go down the rabbit hole. Like, we set ourselves up for failure really easily when we don't focus on the goal at hand. So every day, think of your business as a job, maybe. Think of it as, if I don't sell something, if I don't do something to push my business forward, I'm not doing my job. Like, you have to think of it that way then. It's not just, I'm gonna just play behind the scenes. No one can hear you, no one can see you. You have to push yourself. You have to keep moving. Whether it's a tiny move or it's a big move, just do something. And, you know, turn off notifications if someone you're following is constantly, triggering you, or mute them, or just don't follow them. We're all adults. And I think if there's something that triggers you, then remove it and work through it. If there's somebody who every time they post about their success and you feel a certain way in a negative way, why don't you try flipping it around to, I'm happy for her. I'm happy that I saw this because now I can see that this is possible for me too. We gotta stop making everything about us and think about the bigger picture.
Right. When we first started this podcast, the one thing that I kept hearing from people was, I really struggle with getting the stuff going because I don't know if I'm going to do it right. And so this perfectionistic thing comes out. And I know you have to have seen it in your own business with people around you. What do you say to people who really feel like they don't have enough information? It's not good enough. They're just going to keep tweaking until, and you've mentioned a little bit on this, but I'd love to hear some more.
It's never gonna be perfect. The way you sell, the way you launch your program, nothing is ever gonna be perfect. And I am not a perfectionist when it comes to this. I'm more of a, let's just get it done and keep going and learn. So if you think about the things that you do in a different way, as instead of saying it has to be perfect, why don't you just say, I need to get this done because I need to learn from it. So if it doesn't work, you can learn from it. If it works, you're going to learn and you're going to grow. You're always going to grow. Think of situations, whether you get them done or not, as an opportunity for you to expand yourself, expand your reach for people. no one can be in your world if you won't let them. Your program is going to change whether you think it's perfect today. Next year, you're going to think, well, I need to change this. You're going to change everything. You're evolving. The way you speak, the way you write, the way you create, everything is evolving. So it's never going to be perfect. Even if you think it is, you need to just get over it. And like I keep saying, you got to just keep moving. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. And we all know that.
So I ask every single guest this, and I'm just curious, where do you identify the most, either now or in your past? More of a people pleaser, a perfectionist, or a procrastinator?
I think none of them. No, a people pleaser is like maybe as a mom, and like I want to please everybody in my home, but as my business, I don't feel like I do that. Procrastination, I don't do that either in my business. I just keep moving. I think the what was the other one? Perfection. Yeah, maybe it's like a little bit of both, but I just don't see those as qualities as that I have now. Maybe back then it was procrastination because I didn't feel confident with moving and doing what I needed to do. I thought like the big thing that got me hung up back then was, what should my I help statement be? It has to be perfect. I can't move forward until it's perfect. And it has to be really sparkly and glittery for people to want to be in my world. And that, I would say, that really hung me up. And I remember reaching out to a coach that I had joined a program, and I said, "What about this?" And she said, "Yeah, that sounds good." And I was like, "Okay, good. Now I can move forward." But literally, that was exactly what I was telling myself I should have for, 2 years or whatever, where I was waiting for that outside approval. So once I talk it out, Dawn, I was like, yeah, I needed to have that. I was procrastinating because I wanted to please somebody so I could move forward.
Right. I like that you reached out and actually told somebody and then just got the okay.
Yep.
It's all it's dealt with. And I think that's important. Like even just some accountability sometimes can be enough, or having a coach that can see a blind spot or just point something out and say, yep, that's good enough. Go for it. Can make
Hmm.
such a difference.
Oh, yes. I know that there are coaches who it can get to the point if you don't recognize this, like it can get, I don't know if you've seen this with the people you work with, but I see it get so bad where people procrastinate, like they make themselves sick and then they don't launch, then they don't do the webinar, then they don't do this. Like they're physically sick because they won't hold themselves accountable to doing the things. I see that a lot. And that's so heartbreaking because I can almost predict what's gonna happen when you set a goal like that. When I know you're not all in, I know you're gonna self-sabotage it in some way or another, and that's really sad, so it's important to recognize those signs before it happens.
Exactly. If you find that you're stuck in any of this that we're talking about, reach out to somebody. I'm going to put Lindsay's contact info in the show notes, but what's the best place to get a hold of you?
I love hanging out on Instagram. I don't procrastinate on going on there. I'm just under Lindsay_Maloney, and you can send me a DM and I'd be happy to talk.
That's awesome. Lindsay is giving a freebie called Meant for More. Can you tell us a little bit about how this is going to benefit us?
I think it's gonna benefit everyone greatly because it is like the foundation of when coaches are starting. I feel like I'm meant for more, but I don't know what I should do. This is gonna help you. I wish I had this. It would have saved me about 3 to 5 years. It's gonna help you get out of your head and then realize, like, I have what it takes to do this. I'm gonna show you how to get yourself out of the crowd and step aside and claim that you're gonna go first. You're gonna lead. It's going to help you embrace that leadership role so you can move forward in your business. There's 5 different video trainings. There's a support group that you can be a part of if you want, but you can go binge watch them right away.
Thank you so much for providing this. This will be in the show notes. Please take a look at that right away, especially if you're just procrastinating and not sure if you should be, should I be a coach, should not be a coach? It's great when we can fast track somebody through something that we struggled with. So thanks, Lindsay.
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to say thank you also for being a part of Imperfection and Progress podcast, because really this is where, for everybody that's listening, there's such great wisdom in our guests that are here. And Lindsay is one more person that you can connect in with, that you can be a part of her community. And so I really encourage you to spend some time looking her up, checking her out on Instagram, go to her website, and just find all the things about her so that you can find your community and what works best for you. Thanks again, Lindsay.
Yeah, thanks for having me.